Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you to a runoff debate for the APFA's Office of the National President. My name is Brian Lane. I am a Director of Debate and a Distinguished Professor at the University of North Texas. It's my honor to present a debate between the two candidates today on a number and variety of different issues affecting the membership. Let me go through some of the ground rules and then I'll introduce the candidates to you. For our debate today, we have a series of different questions that I'll be asking. Each candidate will get an opportunity. First, we're going to start with opening statements from each candidate. Then we'll have a series of questions. These questions have been provided to me by the different campaigns. I chose among the questions that they submitted, and then I've randomized some of the order. For every single question that we ask, each side will have an opportunity to answer, a 2-minute answer, and each side will have an opportunity to provide a rebuttal to the other side's answer. That rebuttal lasts for 1 minute. We'll go through 6 different questions, ladies and gentlemen, and at the end of that process, we'll have time for closing remarks from both of our candidates for the office of the National President. Now let me introduce our candidates sitting for the office of the National President. First, Ms. Julie Hedrick, and then Ms. A.M. Plevritis. They are both candidates in their own right and have prepared a number of statements from their candidacy. Let me explain some of the comments that we have here. Remember, there's no recording of this device. None is allowed. Also, anybody in the audience, please maintain a professional decorum, which means no heckling or no disturbing anything during the debate. It's my pleasure to introduce the candidates in our first comments. Prior to the debate, we performed a coin toss to decide who would open the debate. Ms. Hedrick was the winner of that. She'll start with her opening remarks right now.
Thank you, Brian. We're not in the middle of negotiations. We are in the home stretch. We are at war with Robert Isom and his team. We are meeting with the National Mediation Board on March 13th to make our case to be released and to exercise our right to strike. We have organized a first ever worldwide day of action for over 100,000 flight attendants. APFA is on the move and we are leading the industry. We did all of this together by believing in our members and leading 27,000 to vote yes on a historic strike authorization vote. How did we do this? By organizing the most effective contract action team in the industry. We've opened up our union and changed the transparency so all members can see what is being negotiated. We stopped the infighting that has plagued APFA by collaborating with our base presidents, and we have reformed APFA. We are now a class struggle union, one that fights management and corporate greed, one that works with other unions because we know there are strength in numbers. We are in this fight together to raise the bar for our profession. My opponent wants to take us backwards, eliminate transparency, and continue corruption within APFA. She perpetuates division between legacies and seniorities. She even insults other unions. She's taken a page out of management's union-busting playbook. My opponent supports past officers who have misappropriated your membership dues. We have opened up the finances of this union. We have picketed 7 times this year. Many of you were out there with us. Where was A. We have attended 3 State of the Airlines to confront Robert Isom. Where was A. Leading the union is taking the company on face to face, not sitting behind a keyboard, hurling insults at you, our members. My opponent has never negotiated a contract, but wants to step in at this critical period. She wants to reopen issues. She'll have to find a new attorney, and she will delay the conclusion of our negotiations. Flight attendants have a clear choice today. Do you want to go back to the old guard of APFA or continue to move this union forward? I ask you to vote for me and my entire slate so we can continue on our work in reforming APFA into a fighting union.
Thank you, Ms. Hedrick. Ms. Plevritis, your opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Thank you to the National Ballot Committee, and also thank you, Brad, for being my election liaison. Hello, flight attendants. My name is A. Plevritis. I'm a line flight attendant, and I'm running for APFA National President. I stand here before you ready, willing, and able to lead us successfully to the industry-leading contract that we rightfully deserve. The job at hand will not be easy, but I assure you, we will move forward together. We cannot go down this path of continued disrespect by the company for another 4 years. Under my leadership, APFA will once again become a leader in the industry. The days of groveling for what is rightfully ours will finally be over. American rakes in billions in revenue on the backs of the frontline employees, and executives expect flight attendants to work hours on end for free. That business model might be good for the executives, but it is not good for me, and it's not good for you. We want what is rightfully ours, and as our next president, I expect to deliver. We are now in our 5th year of negotiations, and there seems to be no end in sight. Nothing has improved in the last 4 years since the current national president took office. Absolutely nothing. In fact, we are worse off now than we were in April of 2020 when Ms. Hedrick assumed office. Flight attendants are still working under a draconian attendance point system that she agreed to. Flight attendants are understaffed with added workloads every day with no end in sight. Flight attendant flexibility continues to be restricted through the company's manipulation of TTS and the continual increase to productivity and optimization through violations of our contract. And reserve still has not been fixed, even though Ms. Hedrick assured us in 2020 that it would be. 4 years ago, Ms. Hedrick stood right here in front of you telling Doug Parker that his time was up, that we would not accept any more scraps or accept his scraps anymore. Well, 4 years later, flight attendants haven't even seen the scraps. We've seen absolutely nothing except more insult and more injury. The future of our career is in your hands. Something to think about when you cast your vote for APFA National President. Again, my name is A. Marie Plevritis, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Plevritis. Candidates, thank you for your opening remarks. It's time for us to proceed on to the questions. I'll state each question and then give you an opportunity. I'll repeat each one so we make sure that we are clear on what we are doing. For this round, based on the coin toss, we're going to start with Ms. Hedrick for the question. First question is, do you feel flight attendants have lost their motivation after the National Mediation Board, the NMB, denied our request for a release into a 30-day cooling off period? If so, how would you change that? Let me repeat the question. It's a long one. Do you feel flight attendants have lost their motivation after the NMB denied our request for a release into a 30-day cooling off period? If you do, what would you do to change it?
Thank you, Brian. I do not feel like our flight attendants have lost their motivation. We requested a release in the beginning of November, or in the middle of November, excuse me, and that release was denied. But we have been back at the table. We have been working to get this contract done. We have been narrowing the issues, and now we have submitted a second release to the NMB, and now we will meet with them March 13th to make our case to them directly. Absolutely, the flight attendants, the 27,000 have been behind us. They showed up the other day at the State of the Airline to confront Robert Isom with me. Lost motivation? Absolutely not. They are going to show up at the picket that we have here on February 13th with all the other airline unions. I believe there are 4 other airline unions and 9 airlines that will be showing up with us. 100,000 flight attendants on the picket lines the same day. This is not an easy task for anyone to achieve, and we will only be able to do it together. And so lost motivation? Absolutely not. Our flight attendants are fired up, they are ready to go, and they are ready to get this contract done. And I am going to do that.
Thanks, Ms. Hedrick. Ms. Plevritis, the same question. Do you think the flight attendants have lost motivation after the denial for a request for a cooling off period?
Yes, I feel we have lost our motivation, not specifically because of the cooling off period being denied, but because our strike authorization vote was premature. Normally, a strike authorization vote and a request for release go hand in hand. Instead, the company followed up our strike authorization vote with a lowball economic counterproposal. I will change our direction with a PR firm and better communication and strategies. I will use the media more to get our message out to the public and to our flight attendants who are not on social media.
Thank you, Ms. Plevritis. We have an opportunity for each question for rebuttal. We'll start off with Ms. Hedrick here. 1 minute for rebuttal to that answer.
Thank you. First of all, there is no standard for when you ask for a strike authorization vote. It varies, and if you look around the industry today, you will see Southwest just did a strike vote, and that vote was after a failed tentative agreement. Alaska Airlines also just put in for a strike vote, and they are in mediation, and that is more the standard is you have to be in mediation. You have to follow the steps that the National Mediation Board has for us. And you have to know that if you're going to take over as lead negotiator. She feels we've lost motivation because she hasn't been to any pickets. She also hasn't come to State of the Airline. I don't know if she's on anything other than Facebook, but I will tell you on Instagram, you can see our members are alive, they are motivated, and I can tell you it's not just our members, it's the public also. We have over 400,000 views on our Instagram.
Thank you. Ms. Plevritis, a rebuttal to this same question.
Like I said, the strike authorization vote was premature. That's what I said, it was premature. And also, I'm a line flight attendant, and to say that I've not been to any pickets during these negotiations is incorrect. I have been to pickets within the past 5 years. I have spent my whole career advocating for flight attendants. I take offense to being told that I'm not at any pickets. And no, I did not go to the State of the Airline address. I've been sick, as you probably can tell.
Thank you, Ms. Plevritis. All right, candidates, great job. Let's proceed to our second question. This time we will start with Ms. Plevritis. Let me state it, and I'll repeat it as well. All right, here we go. As we navigate a crucial phase in negotiations, could you outline your strategy, relevant experience, and the composition of your team in securing an industry-leading contract for the 27,000 members? I'll repeat. As we navigate a crucial phase in these negotiations, could you outline first your strategy, then your relevant experience, and finally the composition of your team in securing an industry-leading contract for the 27,000 members? Ms. Plevritis?
Yes. Well, our negotiating team is built with the 2 negotiators that are elected by the membership, 2 negotiators appointed by the board, and 2 negotiators appointed by the national president. Therefore, I would only have the ability to change 2 negotiators. I will meet with the presidential appointments and decide at that time if change is needed. I will bring in another attorney to sit at the table, and along with our current negotiating lead attorney. And what I know when something's not working, change is needed. As a president, I take on the role as chairperson of the negotiating team. My hopes are a change in leadership will bring in a change in the negotiating style for the entire team, and we will work cohesively together with a new style of negotiation.
Thank you, Ms. Plevritis. Ms. Hedrick, the same question. What is your experience, the composition of your team, and your strategy?
I've spent 10 years fighting the company for the language in this contract. To lead negotiations, the president must know the issues we've had since implementing the language. It's clear my opponent hasn't kept up on negotiations. She is stating she will need at least a month to review the sections. Does she not realize that everything we have negotiated is on the website? She has to be ready day one. My opponent has not defended the language in any capacity. How will she lead a team of negotiators? Our overall strategy is to have a knowledgeable, experienced team that includes a strategic attorney like Joe Burns. He is the only attorney with years of experience sitting across the table from American Airlines union buster Jerry Glass. My opponent will have to go out and find a negotiating attorney. I think she should tell us today who she will be using. Do you have one? Our strategy you've all seen and been a part of. Where was A-Marie? We've been transparent for the first time ever at APFA. We've engaged the membership by building the strongest contract action team in the industry. We've achieved a historic strike authorization vote. I've stood face to face with Robert Isom to tell him his economic framework is not going to work in these negotiations. We'll be meeting with the National Mediation Board on March 13th, and we're on track to get the improvements to our wages and flexibilities our flight attendants need. Do you really think she is qualified to be the president leading in these negotiations? There's a lot of strategy to achieving a contract that raises the floor for the industry. I've got the team, she does not.
Thanks very much, Ms. Hedrick. There's an opportunity for rebuttal on this question. Ms. Plevritis?
Yes, sir. First of all, I have never said anything that Ms. Hedrick just implied. Never said that. Like I said in my statement, I will bring in another attorney. No, I'm not going to name who I'm going to bring in. Also said that I will keep our current negotiating attorney, our lead negotiating attorney. Actually, I think two heads are better than one. Two attorneys would be better than one because we're definitely not getting anywhere right now. Ms. Hedrick can go on and on and on as what she's going to do, but for 4 years, she's done absolutely nothing. We have nothing to show.
Thank you, Ms. Plevritis. Again, the opportunity for rebuttal. Yes.
Sure. So far, it's been 2.5 years since we've been in negotiations, just to let you know. We started in August of 21, not 5, not 4, as you just said. We've read it on your posts on Facebook, what you've said about what you're going to need to do before you can take this role over. Now, you want to keep our current negotiating attorney? I would suggest you don't call him a slimeball on Facebook, because our negotiating attorney is not going to work with someone who's insulted him, okay? He is not going to deal with that. So she will have to find an attorney to run these negotiations, just so you know. It is not easy to get these negotiations done, and we, as I said in my opening statement, we're not in the middle of negotiations. We are in the home stretch, and we are ready to get this done.
Thank you, candidates. Actually, this topic of the negotiating team is very important for both camps. We stay in that for the following question. This time we'll start with Ms. Hedrick. As APFA president and chairperson of the negotiating team, what changes do you intend to make to the negotiating team and why? So I'll restate. As president and chairperson of the negotiating team, what changes do you intend to make and why? Ms. Hedrick?
I have no changes I'm going to make to the negotiating team. We have an excellent attorney, the best in the business. He's been doing negotiations for over 20 years, okay? He knows our contract like the back of his hand. I will definitely never change any of the negotiators who have been working hard on this contract. They're doing an excellent job. They've gotten us to where we are at, and it is a lot of work. So there is absolutely no way I will change that. What I will be doing is pressing so that to the NMB to make sure we get released and we can exercise our right to strike. We want a contract, but we know that the only way we're going to get that contract with this company is putting pressure on them. Pressure from the NMB, pressure to exercise our right to strike.
Thank you, Ms. Hedrick. The same question, Ms. Plevritis. What changes would you make to the team and why?
Well, what I do know is something is not working and change is needed. As president, Again, I would take on the role as chairperson of the negotiating team. My hopes are a change in leadership will bring in a change in the negotiating style for the entire team. And we will work cohesively together with the style of negotiating. Right now, nothing is moving forward. We're stagnant. The company has came back with, or has offered a lowball economic counter proposal, and we lowered our standards and offered another proposal in our pay, and you lowered that. So you're not standing strong.
Thank you, Ms. Plevritis. We're still on this topic. A rebuttal, Ms. Hedrick.
Something is not working, okay? Change in negotiation style. I'm not sure what that means. I need specifics. What's not working? We have been negotiating 40 sections of a contract for 2.5 years. We have 25 tentative agreements. We have a few items left and many, I shouldn't say many, hours of service, scheduling, reserve, right? We have a few items left in there to negotiate. I don't know what she is talking about, changing a negotiation style. She said it over and over again, but I don't know what that means. I hope she can clarify that for all of us in her rebuttal. Nothing is not moving forward. I'm not sure if you're keeping up to date, but we have moved a lot forward. We have narrowed the issues. We are down to the economics, and if you know how negotiations work, that is how it always works. At the end is when you get the economics done.
Thank you. You get the last word on this, Ms. Plevritis. How about the negotiating
Yes.
team?
Well, if you don't know what's not working, then who knows? You're the one that is at the table, so why is it that you don't know what's not working? I don't understand that. Out there on the line that I've been flying for 28 years, we don't know what is going on. You said you have transparency. Well, it's selective transparency because we out there on the line don't feel anything's moving forward. We're stagnant. We're waiting. We've been waiting. And yes, our contract has been amendable since 2019, and the Bassani administration is the actual administration that opened up early negotiations. Early openers. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Plevritis. Candidates, congratulations on a great first half of our debate. We got into some very serious issues. We'll start it off in the next half, and we're beginning again with Ms. Plevritis. The question shifts our terrain here into that of safety and security. Let me state the question. How would you ensure the safety and security of our flight attendants take precedent as one of the APFA's primary concerns? And what are your plans to ensure that flight attendant issues are addressed in the FAA reauthorization bill? Let me repeat the question. It's a long one. How would you ensure safety and security of our flight attendants takes precedent as one of the APFA's primary concerns? And what are your plans to ensure that flight attendant issues are addressed in the FAA reauthorization bill? Ms. Plevritis.
Well, all the departments need oversight. There is no oversight. I would appoint a safety security chair that has experience and that is aware of our precedents, our past practice, and that is not allowed to sign memorandums of understanding that is for the national president to sign. I'm not sure who's empowered department chairs to sign MOUs, but I would appoint people with experience and not special interests like you.
Thank you, Ms. Plevritis. Ms. Hedrick, the same question, safety and security of our flight attendants. How are you going to make sure that it is the priority issue for the organization and that the issues are addressed in the FAA reauthorization?
The company can no longer be relied on to notify us of critical incidents and emergencies. That is why we have put in place various forms of help for our flight attendants. The first change we made was that when an incident occurs, such as a fume event or an injury on duty, our base presidents, vice presidents, officers, and EAP team are notified in teams. Our EAP team then reaches out to see if they are okay and to see if there's anything they can do to help them. We all know notifications have not been consistent with this company. Unfortunately, there's been some serious incidents that have happened recently. We've now developed a new system for our flight attendants to utilize when something happens on a layover. They can now call or text our team, and they will send a checklist to them, and they will also make sure that our EAP team is notified. But our fight doesn't stop here. APFA is part of a larger fight on Capitol Hill on many topics. I just spoke with the FAA administrator the other day, and one of the most important topics in the FAA reauthorization bill is cabin air quality. It is fume events, and that is of huge concern to us, and we have to make sure this is taken care of for our flight attendants. It's affecting us daily. Flight attendant crew assault is another one. Hot cabin temperatures, seat dimensions, labor standards. There are many things that are happening with the FAA reauthorization bill, and we're hoping that the Senate will pass it soon, and our government affairs team is working hard to make sure that happens. Safety is key for our crew members, and we are always looking to improve how we help our members in very difficult situations.
Thank you, Ms. Hedrick. We turn to the rebuttal section for this question. Ms. Plevritis, rebuttal on this question of safety and security?
Yes. I've been a part of lobbying on Capitol Hill a few times also regarding the reauthorization bill when we were trying to get the 10-hour rest passed, but more, we wanted more. Also, all these changes that you say that you've made, why aren't we seeing it on the line? You're not on the line. You haven't been in, what, 10 years? I have been on the line consistently working. I'm not seeing these changes that she's talking about. As far as cabin air quality and fume events, we've had a program in place for a while, a long time. I've been involved in fume events. Have you? I have. So I'm that really is personal to me because I have been involved. But thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Plevritis. The last word on this issue of safety and security, Ms. Hedrick, 1 minute.
Yes. Are you reading the hotlines? Because this information has been going out. We just put out the hotline last week about our new program. You brought up the MOU signed by our safety chair. So this is about LOSA. My opponent has been very vocal against LOSA. She prefers management on our flights rather than a flight attendant who is there to help collect data and a program that's non-punitive. This program is in line with Cabin ASAP. Many other unions use LOSA. Our pilot union has used it for 10 years. They came and spoke to all of us how successful it has been. The alternative is our flight service management being on our aircraft and doing quality assurance rides, checking you not just for safety, but also for uniform compliance and service. And that is punitive.
Thank you, Ms. Hedrick. Thanks, candidates. Great job dealing with that question on safety and security. Our attention turns now specifically to oversight. We will be starting this question with Ms. Hedrick. Let me state the question. While the APFA president is the chair of the negotiating committee, he or she also oversees all national departments at the APFA headquarters. How do you intend to provide oversight to these departments? Again, in addition to their other roles, the APFA president also is overseeing the national departments, all at the APFA headquarters. How do you intend to provide oversight to these departments? Ms. Hedrick.
Thank you. So I will say, since we came into office, we started using a system called Teams so that we could meet virtually with all of our department chairs. They all have my cell phone number, so if they need any help, I'm always there for them. I meet with them regularly, and our team is doing a great job, every single one of them. One of the most important things you have to do when you come into this role is put qualified people into positions, people who know the contract and scheduling, people who know safety, and who care about our flight attendants in the safety department. Our EAP team, we have a new program here that we're bringing in flight attendants every year. We're at 49 right now who are working on the EAP team, but we're adding 22 next month. So as far as oversight is concerned, listen, we're all flight attendants here working for our members, and we are all doing a great job of, first off, collaborating, working together, and making sure that we all feel that we can reach out to any national officer. It's not just about me. It's about any national officer is there to help our department chairs with anything they need. So I think our team is doing a great job, and I will continue. One of the things that we actually have done in our administration is quarterly membership meetings. And those membership meetings are for our flight attendants to be able to see the important issues in each department. We started that with this administration. It's been very successful, and I will say we will continue that and hopefully do more of it.
Thank you, Ms. Hedrick. Ms. Plevritis, the same question. How do you intend to provide oversight to the many departments?
Well, the department chairs serve as the president's designees. They don't replace her in signing MOUs. There is currently no oversight with the national departments. The safety chair signed the LOSA MOU. Where was the oversight there? The hotel department has a link to BizHero. On the hotel department webpage, there was a cease and desist letter issued to the company regarding the use of BizHero. Why would we have a link to BizHero on the APFA website? Where is the oversight there? Are these changes even being vetted? It's alarming. It's very alarming.
Thanks, Ms. Plevritis. We're still on this issue of oversight. 1 minute for rebuttal. Ms. Hedrick.
Sure. I think that Ms. Plevritis is very concerned about whose signature is on an MOU. The safety chair worked with the base presidents. They all read the MOU before it was signed, and they all approved it, just like every letter of agreement I have ever signed at this union. I have always brought the letter of agreements to the base presidents because we have a very good collaborating working relationship, and they have always approved it. If they don't approve it, I don't sign it. So I'm not sure her concern over the safety chair signing an MOU. At the end of the day, I approved it, the base presidents approved it, and it was fine by us for him to sign it.
Thank you. The last rebuttal on this issue of oversight. Ms. Plevritis.
Yes. Well, where were you? Why would you allow an appointed chair to sign something so important? And what were you, too busy worrying about your personal lawsuits? By the way, how are you paying for that? Is that coming out of APFA's NNFR funds? You and the National Treasurer are being sued personally as APFA. And while you're too busy with that, you have no oversight over our departments. It's like letting them do whatever they want. And again, you didn't sign the MOU. You gave him approval to sign it, but you didn't sign it. What, you didn't want your name on it? How convenient that you're now just sending out hotlines a week before the debate.
Thank you, Ms. Plevritis. Candidates, we've come to our last question for the debate, and I am so excited that it is a question about collaboration. So let me state the question. This time we will be beginning with Ms. Plevritis. The question has to do with what collaborative plans you have. Here we go. What collaborative plans do you have to engage with other unions, base presidents, officers, and department chairs during your tenure as president? So it's 4 different categories. I'll repeat. What collaborative plans do you have to engage with, first, other unions, second, base presidents, third, officers, and finally, department chairs during your tenure?
Yes, sir. Our union has always collaborated with other unions on and off the property. I would continue collaborating with all unions. As far as the department chairs, we would host or have weekly updates like we've always done. And with the base presidents, I would have board calls with them, collaborating, take to them whatever issues that we're having, and I would work with them cohesively.
Thank you very much, Ms. Plevritis. Ms. Hedrick, same question, collaboration with those 4 entities.
My record speaks for itself. I have been working with other unions day one of my presidency. That day, I signed a letter with Sarah Nelson and Lynn Montgomery, leaders of other flight attendant unions, to the Secretary of Treasury. There have been many more that have followed. We worked together with other unions to ensure any money from the government during COVID would go to employees, not management. PSP 1, 2, and 3 was successful because of the flight attendant unions working together and getting our members actively involved. We have a worldwide picket on February 13th that is comprised of 4 airline flight attendant unions and 10 airlines, all collaborating for the same cause. Not quite the same collaboration that Ms. Plevritis talked about, a lot more. Day one, we started having meetings here with our entire union. Every day, we were in COVID. That lasted for about 3 months. We now have weekly meetings with our base presidents. Listen, we are not always going to agree with them, but talking through the issues weekly, we have addressed issues quickly. We have ensured that the base presidents are included in negotiations from the start. This is not a process that anyone should be surprised by what is being negotiated. All major changes to the contract have been joint decisions with our base presidents. My opponent has shown she is good at division. She has many arguments on Facebook with members and sends combative emails to our reps consistently. I'm anxious to hear how she is going to collaborate. Collaboration is crucial to this union. It must continue in order to be a fighting class struggle union.
That's time. Thank you, Ms. Hedrick. We have time for rebuttal on this question. Ms. Plevritis, yes.
Yes, sir. Well, so much for confidentiality. I'm emailing the reps. You're telling 27,000 flight attendants that I'm sending hostile emails to reps. First of all, I'm not, but that sounds to me like a violation of our confidentiality.
All right, thank you, Ms. Plevritis. Rebuttal to that, 1 minute.
Okay, so Ms. Plevritis, as far as collaborating and working for 27,000, I can't help but notice on your candidate information, you have 6 names. 5 of them are Dallas flight attendants and 1's a Miami flight attendant. Not one from every base.
Excuse me, that's a prop.
Okay.
They've
Yeah.
used
We're in
them
the
before
rebuttal
today.
period. We've been
They've
using
used
them.
it, and we
Yeah.
had another candidate use it. So can I have a few more
Let's
seconds?
just finish
left?
up. Yeah, we're
All right.
right here, yeah.
So is she going to be working for 27,000 flight attendants, or does she have certain flight attendants that she will work for? Does she have a Facebook group that is how she is campaigning, that is private? How transparent is A. going to be with all of you? Does she know how to collaborate, or does she just know how to insult and threaten our base presidents?
Thank you. We did stay within the time there. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to turn to our closing remarks. We're going to begin with Ms. Plevritis. Your closing remarks?
Yes, sir. As the voting membership, one question you have to ask yourself is, how many additional years are you willing to endure the abuse and disrespect before you've had enough? The next question you need to ask yourself is, why this president, why is she fighting so hard for contract terms that we, the membership, have adamantly stated we do not want? Why is Ms. Hedrick fighting for a 300% increase to straight reserve when the vast majority of APFA members fought straight reserve for decades? Furthermore, why did Ms. Hedrick negotiate the LOSA program and not negotiate anything in return for the concession? What flight attendants want are significant improvements, not more concessions on top of the last 3 concessionary contracts. What we want are better wages, better benefits, better work rules, better retirement, and better quality of work life. It's that simple. We deserve what is rightfully ours, And as your next union president, it will be my job to ensure we get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Plevritis. The closing remarks from Ms. Hedrick.
We have worked hard to foster unity among our members and have taken significant steps to enhance transparency, collaboration, and the overall strength of APFA. We have made significant strides to move this union forward, including the historic strike vote, and established an effective and a best-in-the-industry contract action team. We are dedicated to fighting corporate greed and building solidarity with other unions, reflecting a vision for the future of our profession. We have a hands-on approach to facing management and advocating for the rights of flight attendants. Our slate is focused on a united front against management. We have changed transparency of this union to one that every member knows what is being negotiated at the table, as well as opening the books to how your union dollars are spent. In our first year, we brought financial reform changes to our policies to correct misuse of funds in the past. You have a clear choice. It's between continuing the battle with management or reverting to the old ways of APFA. You should be concerned about potential delays and distractions in contract negotiations if my opponent becomes president without any negotiating experience and wants to renegotiate provisions delaying our request to be released. Robert Isom would prefer a new, inexperienced president who has made promises to the membership he knows she will not be able to deliver, who has no negotiating experience, little knowledge of the contract, and will need to find a different attorney for these negotiations. We need a president who is an experienced negotiator, one who has battled this company time after time. I am the only candidate with that experience. We need an experienced attorney, Joe Burns, who knows the contract like the back of his hand. And we need a seasoned negotiating team that has been battling American Airlines for the last 2.5 years. We are at war. We are ready to strike. And we need to continue our strategy to win. Our strategy includes working together with other unions to fight for the contract we deserve and to raise wages for all flight attendants across this industry. We have built a fighting union for 27,000 flight attendants at American. A vote for Julie Hedrick, Larry Salas, Eric Harris, and Josh Black will ensure we continue moving this union forward and win our fight against American Airlines management.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching a runoff debate between Julie Hedrick and A. Marie Plevritis for the office of President of the APFA. My name is Brian Lane, and I have been your moderator for this event. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank both of the candidates for doing an excellent job in fielding of questions and answers on a variety of issues. I'd also like to thank the National Balloting Committee as they've put together the debate and made sure that everyone has an opportunity to watch this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have discussed a number of current issues that are facing our organization: motivation, the negotiating team, the safety and security of our attendants, oversight, and even collaboration. Now it is your turn. For all of our 27,000 members and flight attendants out there, vote in this election. There's an important decision to be made. Weigh the issues, listen to both sides, and make your decision. Good luck, and thank you for watching.